Citizens, look at what...
Some folks, like those at this Monday event sponsored by Americans for Prosperity, even doubt the global warming scare is fact. Organizer Annie Patnaud.
There is clearly not a scientific consensus.
But Al Gore, in his Oscar-winning documentary An Inconvenient Truth, asserts serious scientists all believe in man-caused global warming. His and other documentaries paint a dire picture of mass melting at the poles, flooding Earth's coasts.
The ice sheets will melt, and many of the planet's coastal cities could be under 4 feet of water by the year 2100.
Or if half of Greenland and half of West Antarctica broke up and melted, this is what would happen to the sea level in Florida.
Gore says wild weather will go even more haywire.
All kinds of unusual catastrophes, like a nature hike through the book of Revelations.
Dan Cronin of the Environmental Defense Fund sees global warming causing horrible costs in a number of ways.
Increased spread of diseases, increased rates of asthma. When you do have storms, they're going to be much stronger, much more violent. It's going to dramatically affect precipitation levels, which are key for farmers.
But this Capitol Hill event, kickoff of the Hot Air Tour, gives global warming doubters a chance to say, wait a minute, is this scare real? And what will fighting it cost?
And Americans deserve to know the truth, the real cost of all the hot air in this debate.
Former European Parliament official Richard North and journalist Christopher Booker have written a book about scares like global warming. They say one respected economist added up the numbers.
If all Al Gore's recommendations in that notorious movie were implemented, and he came out with a figure of $34 trillion.
The Congressional Budget Office did the numbers on the main anti-global warming bill the Senate's considering.
They actually costed that out as an over $1 trillion tax hike.
But Cronin has his own number that he says comes from MIT, which figures the cost to fight global warming will be just $20 a year for the average American family.
$20 to avoid the flooding, to avoid the drought, to avoid all the problems we could face with global warming is, I think, something that most Americans are happily willing to pay.
But Patnaud says the cost will be more than just financial. For instance, she says California officials recently proposed
putting a radio control in home thermostats so that the state could ensure that individuals were not using too much energy.
And North warns those trying to quell global warming could actually be fighting a good thing.
Warming periods have always coincided with maximum prosperity.
North and Booker say food grows better in warmer times. With the world for the first time in memory now consuming in a year all the food it can grow in a year.
If we actually don't get global warming, the world is in very, very serious trouble.
Cronin says that theory's full of holes.
You're going to have long periods of drought where it doesn't rain at all, and crops don't get the water that they need to grow.
Cronin asserts if he's right about global warming and opponents are wrong,
there's going to be a lot more stronger hurricanes, there's going to be a lot of farmers getting hurt by droughts, there's going to be a lot of public health problems, and it's something where I don't think it's something we can gamble on.
North and Booker smile all this away, saying global warming is caused by scientific confusion and it will likely be a short-term scare.
Now, the joy of most of the scares we've written about is that they've gone right through the cycle to the point where people have seen that there was a confusion.
Paul Strand, CBN News, Washington.